Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Yma Mat Chat. I am Coach Les, and I am here with Mr. Yarwood, the owner of Yarwood's Martial Arts. And today, this is episode number 31 on February 27th, 2025. And we are going to be talking about procrastination. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
We've been keep putting this one off, haven't we?
Yeah. We were going to start at 10:45, but we procrastinated right up to 11:02. And I'm going to go ahead and create the definition of procrastination. For those of you that might be not quite sure what it really means, procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks, often choosing short-term comfort over long-term benefits. It can lead to stress, poor performance, and missed opportunities. Over to you, Mr. Yarwood.
Man, I personally, I know what procrastination is, but I have a hard time with it because I'm a guy who likes to get stuff done. I don't like having things linger, having things sitting there. It creates anxiety, I guess. Not necessarily actual anxiety, but I just get this feeling like, man, I just got to get this done so it's done. And it just feels like things start to pile up when you start to not do stuff, right? And it's just little things here and there. I'll do that a little bit later. I'll put this over here and I'll get to it later, right? And a lot of things happen. You forget about things, you lose things, the other things come up that you start to prioritize over that. And even though that was something you had to get done, or even if it's not something that needs to get done right away, another thing gets added to it, another thing gets added to it, and it just piles up. And to me, just thinking about it drives me crazy. It's like I'm not a procrastinator guy. I just want to get it done so it's done, and then I can move on to the next thing, as opposed to going, oh man, was I supposed to do that? Did I remember that over there? And that, you get forgetful about things, and you're trying to create lists of things that you need to get done later, and it's like to me, it's just turmoil, right? If you don't have if you don't have this grasp on, okay, I got a project to do, these are the things I got to get done to get that project done. It just, I don't know. It's directional for me. It's something that keeps me on track to just get it done. I have something to do, get it done. Obviously, I'm not going to get everything done all at once. That's when you prioritize, right? But it's like putting stuff off, just, I don't know. It's one of those, I guess it might be a pet peeve, an annoyance, something. I don't know what it is, but it makes me fidgety to think about.
Whew. Well, on the other hand, if we were to put a let's see if I can have fun with this. On the other hand, if we were to take and put a coin on this, I'm the flip side for Mr. Yarwood. I have mastered the art of procrastination, and I have allowed it to be the part of my list of to-do items that just continues to move as other stuff that I deem higher importance takes its place, and the stuff that I'm procrastinating about goes happily to the bottom of the list. And I would assert that for me, it's been very workable.
Workable.
And although it may not have integrity at the highest level, I communicate about it with my coach and put it on my integrity list as it's out of integrity. I understand that. I get that. And for now, it's
But
nope. For now, it is going to remain in that spot. And I have used it to temper my own, for lack of another way of describing this, and many of you will understand this, see this, and have this experience, anal retentiveness. It has given me some grace in life, in being able to see and give grace to clients that procrastinate. As when I first started, when I was first in a relationship where somebody actually moved in and lived with me, I was not the most pleasant person to live with. I had a very black and white view of everything from dishes, doing the dishes, to cleaning the bathroom, to making a bed and having it be impeccable. And I would assert that it came from my parents, who were both in the military, and from my own experience in the military, where the success that I achieved in the military, I can attribute to my ability to absorb those extreme nitpicky points that provided tremendous workability for me and was very easy. There was no question. There was no doubt. It was very black and white. My boots were spit shined. Why? They were spit shined, as I knew when they were spit shined, I would never get gigged, and gig being reprimanded for dirty boots or scuffed boots. And people tried. There were a couple people that would, right as we're heading to the training yard to line up for formation, for inspection, there would be one or two people that would come, and because they didn't want to take the time, they wanted to scuff mine. And so I became very adept, and I think it was a cool thing. I was very adept at, when I saw somebody, of being able to pick,
quick feet.
Yes, and being able to pick a foot up, even though it was the one I was balancing and standing on in the moment. And as a soccer player, that it definitely helped develop that next level of dexterity. I think, though, there's, if I look at the normal response and the normal understanding of procrastination, there are definitely things that I have procrastinated on. And let's turn it to martial arts, because I'm then going to put Mr. Yarwood on the spot to use me as the guinea pig. For me, there were times when testing was coming, and at the beginning of my journey, or the middle of my journey of the past, gearing up for testing, to level up at the next belt, where I didn't think I was good enough. And the struggle with which I wrestled, I was to the point of, no, I'll just skip this testing and wait till the next one. And that perfectionism, and in my conversation in my head, I didn't practice at home enough. I didn't do it enough. I don't have the experience of feeling good enough at it. I don't have it mastered. I'm not perfect. And that just crushed me and took me out of the game, to the point of coming in and, saying, no, I'm not going to test, and putting Mr. Yarwood in a very interesting predicament. So I'm going to pass the mic over to him and he can use me as the example, because I definitely was the problem child in that moment.
So I have to temper my expectations for people and their own expectations for themselves, because I'm a hard charger. I like to go. I like to get things done. I work hard. I have these parameters that I've set for myself, things that I need to get done. I train every day, all that stuff, right? But I also have to understand that not everybody is like that. And sometimes I forget and I get a little, I don't know, not necessarily aggressive, but I get a little to the point where, like, well, why don't you do what you're supposed to do, right? Why aren't you getting this done? Why are you getting this done? Why are you getting this done? So I have to step back and try and relate. So what Coach Les was talking about is he came in. It was one of the first testings, I think, when you first joined, right? When you came in, you were in uniform, you were ready to go, but you just told me, I'm not ready. And in my head, I'm going, what do you mean you're not ready? You've been training, you've been doing all this stuff. You're as far as I'm concerned, you're ready to go, right? And as an instructor, I would guess that my word to you, telling you you're ready, would mean you're ready, right? I'm not going to put you in a situation where you're not ready. But at the same time, I also thought about, okay, if he doesn't feel like he's ready, I'm not going to push him to the point where he might, in his mind, fail and then have all kinds of repercussions that come down the road from that. So internally, I'm thinking, just get on the mat and do it. I mean, that's how we do things, right? Just go do it. If you fail, you fail. If you're going to learn a lesson either way. But then on the outside, I'm like, okay, well, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, then I'm not going to make you do it, right? And I juggle that because I just want to say, get your ass on the mat and do your thing. So it's a struggle for me. And maybe I have a problem. I don't know. Oh, the way I push myself. Those are the expectations I have of other people. And I guess to be able to project that on to everybody else, I guess might be unfair to those who aren't at that thought process or that level or whatever it is. So, it can be a challenge, because I might come across, if somebody says they're not ready to do something, I might get that disappointed, like, what do you mean you're not ready, right? How can you not be ready? And that might project onto them that I have this disappointment in them because I look at it from a different perspective, right? So I think sometimes that some of my students, they look up to me, obviously, and if I'm disappointed in them, I think that has a major effect on them. So I have to make sure that when I'm thinking about what they're saying to me, I have to make sure that the way I express how I feel about what they're saying to me, it has to be understanding, I guess, for lack of a better term. Because while I might be disappointed, I'm not disappointed in them. I'm disappointed about the decisions that they're making, which is different, right?
Yep.
So it's not a personal thing. I'm not disappointed in you unless you've done something that is really, to the point where I am disappointed in you, but it's more in the choices that you're making versus you as a person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is. And it was something for me. And by the way, I wish I'm sitting here and I'm going, I wish I could say it was at the beginning of my journey, but it was not. It was in the middle of my journey. And I had been coming quite frequently and headed to tests, and testing, seemed to go okay. And then there became this place where, as I was climbing and I was headed towards belts that were greater than the belts I've I had achieved in my prior journey. And the noise in my head was, I don't think I'm ready. I haven't practiced enough. I'm going to make a mistake. Right. And the thing for me in that moment was, I was looking for this, I was so overwhelmed with stuff going on in my personal life and work, and the fear of failure, and these causes of procrastination, right? Fear of failure, lack of motivation. I don't lack motivation, so that wasn't part of it for me. Perfectionism and feeling overwhelmed. And as I would let people know many, many times, feeling overwhelm itself is an integrity issue. Who am I? The coach of integrity.
Yep.
And I looked at it and went, you know what? I haven't practiced enough. I have the experience that I'm going to make a mistake. So it's not going to be perfect. And I don't want to fail. Like, there's no way I want to go through all of this stress of doing the testing and not pass. So when I came, I had this preconceived idea that when I said this to Mr. Yarwood, he would look at me and he would go, "No, you're ready." And I would go, "Okay." And he didn't do that. And so in my mind, in that particular moment, not knowing what he just shared with you, there was this space of, okay, he doesn't trust me either. And he's not telling me to stay, and you'll do great. And so I literally went further down the rabbit hole, and then didn't even come to class until Tuesday. So I skipped Monday's class, and I came in and I said, I'm one of these guys. Yes, I will cry. I will get to that emotional piece of an internal stop, because I'm that transparent, and I let it happen because I know the potential of causing a breakthrough. And it was clearly a defining moment in my relationship with Mr. Yarwood to know that, hey, Coach Les, yes, you may coach me on Thursdays. The rest of the time when you're on the mat, I'm your coach, and I will let you know if I don't think you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And that shifted a whole conversation, because I've not had the experience of somebody having my back at that level in a performance way. And it shifted my relationship to now knowing, and I now know, if I still have that doubt, I don't procrastinate anymore. I just come out and ask.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, to me, the practical strategy of dealing with procrastination, especially in this particular environment, is to just go, I have the experience that I'm procrastinating.
Yep.
And say something. So that's the tune for me, and what I want to share in this. And we've got some more practical strategies here, and we'll go through those. And I'm excited to hear some of your take on some of these strategies, Mr. Yarwood. But I think that's the place for me, and that was a huge learning lesson for me at 60 years old.
And that's what I mean, is like, my thought process is, that's how I think. So for me, everybody, that's how people think, right? So in my head, I'm like, of course you're ready. I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you're telling me you're not, you know you better than I know you. If you make that decision, then, I'm not going to make you do it, but I'm not going to tell you you're not ready, because you are, right? So I guess by me not telling you, that's what you were missing, right? You wanted me in the moment to tell you were ready, but my actions up until that point had already told you that you were ready, the way I looked at it, right?
Yes.
Even though I didn't come out directly and say, Les, you're ready. Everything I did up to that point for you, talking to you, the way I think, told you were ready, because I wouldn't have put you on the mat in the first place if I didn't think you were, right? So there's like that disconnect a little bit between how I communicate and the way you heard it. And then that, and then your reaction to me was, it surprised me, because like I'm like, what he just left? What where did he go? Right? I'm
Where
like,
did my coach go?
I know, where the heck is he? Right? And then he didn't show up. I'm like, what did I? And then I started thinking, did I do something or say something that? What the heck?
And we each, and I think the great thing about this, right? Because procrastination is a negative conversation. This is not the highlight and bubble of coming on today on Yma Chat and talking about something uplifting, focus or empowerment or discipline or integrity, yep. Right? This is one of those things that people struggle with, and everybody struggles with it in their own way. And I think, for me to discover this and learn and go through it, right? Because Tuesday, I was dealing with the integrity issue. Here I am. I'm not talking to my coach. I skipped class.
Yep.
And he's my client. So I've got, the world of integrity is hitting me from both sides. And, I've put myself in this position because I know the benefits that this makes when we take ourselves to the edge and push through it. And for me, this has become an accountability piece. So finding that accountability and telling someone my goals, or work with a partner to stay on track. So Mr. Yarwood is my coach. These are my goals. And he also knows what I'm up against in business when I'm dealing with things in business. So there's some grace there for him and for me. And building a discipline that works for me, because I know if I let the 19-year-old mentality or 20-year-old mentality of Coach Les go, what happens? I got injured, right? And 6 months later, I'm back training. So there's that responsibility. And I share this because there are people out there that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, parents of kids, that if they were to do martial arts with their kids, it would take not only them to the next level, it would take their relationship with their kids, their relationships with their own work situations, and level them up.
Yep.
And that's what, for me, this is one of the primary drives of this Yma Chat, StreamYard, video cast, podcast, all of that experience, and why I'm here and why I've chosen to team up with Mr. Yarwood, because it is going to stretch me. It's going to stretch me in a place that I'm working on developing expertise in, and I'm still a neophyte.
I can be very rigid. Right? I understand that. And that's what I said. My struggle is that I sometimes place my expectations of myself on other people. And it's not always a bad thing. Having the desire, the drive, when I push kids to go further than they think they can go, right? But I also have to know what is their limit, right? Some kids, they just, for lack of a better term, are soft. And it doesn't take much to push them to emotional issues, or they want to quit, or whatever the case may be. But that's the point where, okay, now I step in with the other side of me, with the compassion side, and say, okay, I understand what you're feeling right now, but here's what's going to fix it, right? If you continue to always respond in this way, put things off, not practice, maybe it's too hard, or you have there's a barrier that's created that keeps you from doing what it is you're supposed to do, that creates that procrastination. If I can help them find that and go, okay, when you feel it, this is what you're going to do to get past it. I think when they see that I have both of those sides, where I can be that hard driver, you get your crap done or else type of guy. And then the other side is, okay, I've pushed you as far as you think you can go, but I know you can go further. So here's how I'm going to do that. and not be this guy, right? I'm going to be this guy. We're going to move along this way. And that way they start to realize, hey, I can do this, right? And once they get that mindset change, that shift, they start to realize that that's how they're going to get where they want to go, is they have to just go past a little bit further each time. And when you see that in a kid, man, that is just so amazing. And when I saw it in you, right, that I get that feeling that, man, I it's an eternal, like, oh, I helped this person get further than they thought they could go, right? And that makes me just want to do it more. Then I go looking for that next person I can do it for, right? And it can be a selfish thing for me, because I feel like, okay, I did this. I can, and it helps me to know that what I'm doing is helping other people. The way I do things is being effective to help other people. And that just motivates me to want to do it more. And when I hear that procrastination word, is just like, it's to me, it's almost an excuse, right? A reason to not do something. Why I can't do it because of this, or I have this obligation over here, so this one's not going to. That's how I hear it in my head. It's more of an excuse than the desire to just do what you know you're supposed to do. You're trying to find a way not to do it, and that's not always the case. Obviously, it's not always an excuse, but that's the way my brain interprets it.
You know, I think the other thing, though, I think that there's something to be said for the creativity that some people will come up with that is their form of procrastination. And due to the fact that they're not connected to themselves, there's a place for us as coaches to look and see, is there something incomplete for them in their past, in stuff that they've done or are doing, i.e. at school, i.e. in family, and for me, with the work that I do, in their faith, and looking to find inside those buckets, where is their integrity out? And how do I support them in restoring that integrity without doing it for them? Because then they don't learn. But creating that space and setting up the conditional environment for them to have a breakthrough. And that's the place for me where I keep looking at when I bump into somebody that's procrastinating, is what's the trigger? What's the thing that got in the way? What's the fear factor that they haven't dealt with?
Yeah, it's very rewarding to see somebody come out of that. Something that is so powerful that they're like a whole shift in how they think about things and the direction that they're heading, just by a nudge or a suggestion or a push in the right direction. Say, hey, no, you need to go this way, fix this part, and you're good to go, right? Put them on that trajectory that changes completely for them. And sometimes it takes a lot, sometimes it doesn't take much at all. Everybody's a little bit different, but it's something that I think procrastination it can be so terrible for people, because it becomes something that they don't even think about it. They don't even realize they're doing it anymore, right? It becomes so second nature to just not do stuff, put stuff off, do half, get half done, and then go off and do something else and put this on the back burner or whatever. It can create so many problems for people, because their thought process changes. Like, oh, I'll just do it later, right? It can affect their work, and it can affect their training, their personal stuff, their family life. I mean, so many things can be affected by those decisions, that it's a challenge. And it's hard because, like I said, sometimes they don't realize that they're doing it until it gets pointed out. Like, oh, you got this whole list of things that you started but didn't finish. You put off until later. What are we going to do about that? Like, oh, and when you list them, like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff I didn't get done. Just imagine the results that you're going to have if you just do the things you know you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do
them. And that, so the practical strategies, and I really want to take a moment because I know we're getting close to time. And then if there's one that you want to really stress on, I'm just going to read through these. And if you want to pick one that you really like, Mr. Yarwood, go ahead when I've gone through them. So break tasks into smaller steps. Large tasks feel overwhelming. Break them down into manageable parts. Second, use the 5-minute rule. Commit to working on something for just 5 minutes. Getting started is often the hardest part. And this one, for those of you that may know some of the tips and techniques out there, this is how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yep.
So this is that 5-minute rule explained a little bit with clarification and not using an elephant. Set clear goals and deadlines. Define specific, realistic goals with deadlines to stay accountable. I think one of the StreamYards we're going to do coming up is going to be a one on SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, because that is so profound to be able to do that. Eliminate distractions. Put away your phone. Turn off notifications and create a focused workspace. I mean, we have smart watches now. So people go, oh, yeah, my phone's put down. It's in my bag. It's turned off. And then their watch vibrates. And I'm a prime example right here. Smartwatch. And it distracts you. Now, some of you may say, look, if I'm going to take a private lesson in the middle of the day, middle of the afternoon, I have to have that flexibility to be able to do that. Understandable. So there's by the way, these are not all 100%. Some of them may be 99.9%. Use time management techniques. Try the Pomodoro technique, which is work for 25 minutes, rest for 5. Work for 25, rest for 5 to maintain focus. Desks. A lot of people have desks that go up and down and watches that say, hey, 45 minutes, beep, 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 beep. And you got to step it up.
Yep.
Find accountability. Tell someone your goals or work with a partner to stay on track, or get a coach. And what do I mean by getting a coach? Go and do martial arts. Have Mr. Yarwood become your quote unquote coach. Even though it's in the studio, I guarantee you the crossover, you will be using the techniques every week into that space. It's unbelievable. Build discipline. Train yourself to take action even when you don't feel like it. Just like in martial arts training. Remember, emotions are something we have. We have them. Our brains create them. Our brains. The emotions do not have us. And many people live that way.
I love that build discipline one. You just got to, like Nike says, just do it. Just do it. Go do it. You know what? You're not going to love everything that you do. You're not always going to be motivated to do everything. Motivation is crap, right? You have to do it. Your brain knows you have to do it. Just go do it. And once you get started, it's way easier to keep going. But if you don't start in the first place, you're not going to start. If you keep telling yourself, oh, I'll do it here, I'll do it there, I'll do it tomorrow. No, you won't. You're not going to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to come and you go, I'll do it tomorrow. You just start. Yeah. That's the only way you're going to get going. Have the discipline. Put it on your calendar. Make an alarm. Whatever it is. Just freaking start. Have discipline. Everybody can have discipline. You just have to do it. That's it. It's that simple.
And there's always, by the way, going to be that little voice that says, no, no, I don't want to
We'll
change.
do it later. Oh, it's
I
too hard. Oh, blah, 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 blah. That's what I mean. I have that. That's all it is. It's that little nag in your ear. Don't do it. We don't want to. Do it.
There you have it. All right. Well, with that, we thank you today for those of you that popped in to listen, for those of you that are going to listen to this on the replays. We really appreciate your time and contribution. And with that, we're going to close her out.
See you on the mats.